The Razer Seiren Mini and the HyperX Solocast are both really popular USB microphones, and it's for good reason. They're both capable of recording really high quality audio, they're both small and compact and don't take up a lot of space on your desk, and they're pretty affordable at around $50 for the Seiren Mini and about $60 for the Solocast. Now, despite their many similarities, there are a few key differences that might make one or the other more suitable for what you want to use it for. So if you're trying to figure out which one of these to buy, this video is for you. The Seiren Mini and the Solocast are both plug-and-play USB microphones, meaning to get them up and running, all you have to do is plug them into your device. There's no drivers and no software required, which makes them both really user-friendly. The Seiren Mini uses a pretty basic stand, but it is adjustable. You can move forwards and back and from side to side, and it does have a 5/8 of an inch thread on the bottom, which means it's compatible with aftermarket boom arms if you want to get it set up on one of those. Now the Solocast, on the other hand, works a little bit differently. It's got a tension knob here on the side that you have to loosen, and then you can tilt the microphone backwards or forwards. And then it also has the ability to swivel in 180 degrees from one side to the other in 45-degree increments. And it just kind of clicks into place like that. And it also has the 5/8 inch thread on the bottom and is also compatible with boom arms as well. The stand on the Solocast is more versatile overall, and it can help you get it into the right position for recording to make sure you're getting the best quality audio. But where it falls short compared to the Seiren Mini is that it just doesn't seem as stable. If we bump both of these microphones, you can actually see the Solocast moving back and forth and vibrating before it settles down, whereas the Seiren Mini is pretty much rock solid stable the entire time. The Solocast stands a bit higher than the Seiren, but they're pretty similar in size overall. They're both made from a combination of hard plastics and a little bit of steel, but the Solocast feels heavier and just stronger overall, weighing around 390 grams versus only 240 for the Seiren Mini. They both connect to your PC with a USB Type-A connector, but the actual connections to the microphones are different. The Solocast uses a standard USB-C connection, which is, pretty normal these days, but the Seiren Mini, on the other hand, it uses a micro USB connection, which is also standard, but the difference is it sits inside of a custom cutout area, which means if you ever have to replace the cable, it might be kind of hard to find one just because it has to be able to fit inside that little notch. The Seiren Mini completely lacks manual controls of any kind, so if you want to make any adjustments to the gain or mute the microphone, you're going to be stuck doing that in your system settings on your device. Now, if you go over here to the Solocast, there's a nice convenient tap to mute button right on the top and a bright LED indicator on the front that'll let you know when the microphone's muted. There's still no way to adjust the gain without going into your system settings, but I think those two features are really convenient, and they're a decent step up from the Seiren Mini that doesn't have anything other than a little tiny power LED on the front. Now, one way the Seiren Mini stomps all over the Solocast is that it has a built-in shock mount inside the microphone capsule. So you can't see it, it's physically inside and not built into the stand like you see on some bigger desktop microphones, some higher end stuff like that, but it is there and it is useful because it can help reduce unwanted vibration sounds from making their way into your audio recordings, and that can be really important. If you want something like that for the Solocast, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money and get an aftermarket stand that has shock absorption built in. When it comes to the tech specs, these two mics are nearly identical. They share the same bit depth, frequency response, and sample rate, and the pickup patterns are actually really similar as well. You've got Supercardiod over here on the Seiren Mini and just standard cardioid over here on the Solocast. And the difference is that the Supercardiod pattern is just a little bit more narrow than what you've got on the Solocast. So in theory, it should pick up a little bit less ambient room or background noise. But other than that, in terms of tech specs, neither one of these is really offering any sort of advantage over the other. Now, the most important part is obviously the performance of these two microphones in real world use. So to put these to the test, I'm going to read a few sentences and do a little bit of typing while alternating back and forth between the two mics in a few different setups to give you an idea what they sound like. And all of this audio is being recorded directly onto the computer behind me using Audacity. This is the Razer Seiren Mini set up directly in front of me. This should be the most optimal setup, producing the best quality audio. Here's what it sounds like typing on the keyboard. This is the HyperX Solocast set up directly in front of me. This should be the most optimal setup, producing the best quality audio. Here's what it sounds like when typing on a keyboard. This is the Razer Seiren Mini set up further away and with the keyboard now sitting in front of it. This setup is less ideal than the first. Here's what it sounds like when typing on the keyboard. This is the HyperX Solocast set up further away and with the keyboard now in front of it. This setup is less ideal than the first. Here's what it sounds like when typing on the keyboard. This is the Razer Seiren Mini set up off to the side of my monitor. This is the furthest the mic has been so far, and it no longer has a direct line pickup with the source. Here's what it sounds like when typing on the keyboard. This is the HyperX Solocast set up off to the side of my monitor. This is the furthest the mic has been so far, and it no longer has a direct line pickup with the source. Here's what it sounds like when typing on the keyboard. The way things sound can be really subjective, and I'm sure after listening to those audio tests, there's going to be a lot of people that prefer one of these microphones over the other just because of the way it sounds to them. And that was the whole point of doing those tests, and I'm really interested in what everybody thinks, so leave a comment down below and tell everybody which one of these you prefer and why. For me personally, I prefer the sound of the Solocast. I think it has a little bit more of a rich and lively sound, but at the same time, it does pick up a lot more vibration sounds when typing, and it does seem to get a little more echoey as it moves further away. But I'm someone that wouldn't mind mounting this on a boom arm. I would have no problem doing that, and that would eliminate both of those issues. And then the Solocast also has the tap to mute button and the LED indicator on the front that lets you know when you're muted. And those two features alone are worth the extra $10 in my opinion over the Seiren Mini. At the end of the day, these are both really solid options that are very similar in a lot of ways, and yet they each have a few different advantages that they offer over the other. For me, it's the Solocast, but I would not hesitate to recommend the Seiren Mini either, because I think both of these are really solid options at this price point. So I'm gonna have the purchasing links for both down in the description, and I hope this video helped you decide which one of these microphones is gonna be best for you and the content that you wanna create with it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you.